Okay, hello dear friends, good morning. Such a beautiful, beautiful morning. What a beautiful picture. So the 4 tasks from favorite Greek myths, this book. And I am coming to the end. I renewed this book. I borrowed from library. I renewed this book, but it's time to return, so let's finish the reading of it. The 4 tasks, the story of Cupid and Psyche. Long ago, a king and a queen had 3 lovely daughters. The 2 older ones were just a bit above ordinary, but the youngest, named Psyche, was the fairest and brightest girl in the kingdom. People began to desert the altars of Venus and the goddess of love and beauty and worship Psyche instead. In fact, some were even beginning to call Psyche the second Venus. Venus, Venus, furious about Psyche's fame, ordered her son Cupid to wound the princess with one of his arrows. "Avenge your mother," she cried. "Make Psyche fall in love with the vilest of men, the most miserable and meanest beast you can find." Cupid set out at once to do his mother's bidding, but when the god of love laid eyes on the fair maiden, he accidentally pricked his own finger with one of his arrows, and he himself fell in love with Psyche. So Cupid is the vilest and most miserable and meanest beast. Well, when men fell in love, it very often becomes miserable. Meanest, not necessary. Vilest, not necessary. But when men fall in love, they became miserable, which is pretty normal, no? From the historical reason, if you are suffering. Okay. Hello, dear friends. I am on Patreon, and there are different levels of supporting. And from time to time, I post some special for Patreon patrons to do as my appreciation for your support. Thank you very, very much. Okay, let's continue. Not too much unnecessary commentary. Tormented by his sudden passion, Cupid immediately flew to Apollo, the god of light and truth, and asked for his help. Soon afterwards, all of Psyche's admirers mysteriously vanished. Her father couldn't understand why his daughter's suitors had stopped calling, make a phone call, and they send a message. They send an Insta message, those guys, the suitors, and show the 6-pack and share hashtag Psyche, hashtag Psyche, and hashtag six-pack, hashtag, buff, and whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Insta, WeChat, and Facebook, and Snapchat, all this. Fearing the gods might be angry with him, he asked Apollo for advice. Oh, he asked the wrong guy. He asked Apollo also. Perhaps it has been decreed, it has been decreed your daughter is to marry a god. Apollo said, leave her alone on top of a mountain, and soon you will find out if a god wants her for his life. So don't bother too much. Maybe your daughter is in good luck and will marry a god. When Psyche's father returned home and reported what Apollo had said, a cry of grief went up from the household, for they all knew they would soon lose their beautiful Psyche. Oh, a cry of grief. But since the commands of the gods must always be obeyed, the king and the queen prepared their daughter for her lonely exile. The whole city lit torches, and to the sound of a lonely flute, people chanted a funeral hymn as they escorted the beautiful princess up a steep mountain. When they reached the topmost peak, Psyche spoke to her family and friends. Fear not. Do not torment yourself with grief, but leave me now and meet my fate. Oh, what a beautiful and gracious lady. After her brave words, everyone bid her goodbye, and as they filed down the mountainside, their torches were nearly extinguished by their tears. Psyche also cried until she finally fell asleep on the deserted mountain top. But while she slept, the gentle west wind lifted her up and bore her down to a flowery plateau. And in the morning, when she woke, she found herself lying in a bed of grass before a great palace that had a roof of ivory and columns of gold. Choirs. Is that choirs?
Chorus.
And chorus, English.
Chorus.
Chorus. And a chorus of sweet music filled the air, and the soft voices of invisible beings whispered in her ear, all of this is yours now. Psyche wondered about the golden, gleaming palace. She bathed herself in refreshing spring waters and ate a wonderful dinner, which invisible hands placed before her. During the night, Cupid came to her. You are my waifu. he said in the dark. I love you more than anything, but I must ask that you never try to look upon my face. I will only visit you in the night, but our nights will be glorious and filled with joy. That is quite not nice. It's only a night job, and in daytime she lives her life alone. What is that, right? Is that a normal life? Only night. When Psyche asked why she could not look at him, Cupid only said, honor my request, for if you look upon me, we will be separated forever. Actually, Cupid was afraid that if Psyche discovered he was the son of Venus, if he discovered he was the son of Venus, she would adore him as a god. She would adore him as a god rather than love him as an equal. That kind of makes sense, but still you have to tell the truth, right? Psyche loved her. Nightly visits with Cupid, though during the day she was sad and lonely. Is that true? Yeah, when you fall in love, in daytime you are sad and lonely, and in night, ooh, that's a little bit too much. Okay, I will stop here. No imagination, okay? We stop here. This is a... YouTube does not want us to make video for children, which is perfect. One night, she asked her husband to allow her to send for her two older sisters. If they come here, it will be the beginning of our doom, Cupid said. Oh no, please let them come. It will be the beginning of our doom. Not doom. That's co-ed. Doom. No. It will be the beginning of our doom. Cupid said, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, please let them come, Psyche begged. If you won't allow me to see you, at least allow me to see my sisters. Well, kind of fair, right? If I cannot see you, at least I can have some friends and my girlfriends and my sister and family. It saddened Cupid to hear these words, so he ordered the west wind to bring Psyche's older sisters to her. West wind, 西风, west wind is such a unique thing in Occidental belief, and in the Eastern world, Oriental world, it's so much about east wind. 东风吹，战鼓擂。现在世界上究竟谁怕谁？Okay. And to bring Psyche's older sister. When the sisters arrived at the palace, they were overjoyed to find Psyche alive and well. But as soon as they began to look about and note the splendor in which she lived, they grew envious. Yeah, that happens. By the time they returned home, they were in a jealous rage, because their own husbands were not as wealthy as Psyche's. Gosh, you have three sisters, and they start to despise their husband. Gosh, you are so incapable. 你这么笨蛋，嫁给你了。你这么笨蛋，你嫁给你了，真亏了。他们觉得很亏。也不照着镜子，你看你妹妹多漂亮，你就是只是一点点好。Okay, on their second visit to the palace, the sisters demanded to meet Psyche's husband. I'm afraid I cannot let you see him, she said. Why? Is he so ugly that you are ashamed? No, he can't allow himself to be seen. Even I have not seen him in the daylight. What? Her sisters screamed. I try not to mind, sighed Psyche. He's very gentle and kind, and he seems to love me more than life itself. The two sisters grew more envious than ever when they heard how much Psyche's husband loved her. When they returned home, they tore their hair and wailed with sorrow because their own husbands were cold and unkind. Oh, these two sisters. The sisters grew so jealous of Psyche, they decided to spoil her happiness. The next time they came to the palace, one said, We don't believe your husband is so wonderful after all. 你跟我们这儿瞎说呢. You are cheating me. Your husband is just, and you are hiding it. Oh, but he is. Oh, but he is not, said the other sisters. We've been to an oracle, and she said your husband is a loathsome, horrible monster, and that's why we won't let you look. He won't let you look upon him. No, that's not true. It is, and what's more, she said. And what's more, she said, he's just waiting for you to have his child. And then he plans to kill you. Oh, no. But finally, her sisters persuaded her that her husband was indeed a horrible monster. And they convinced her that in the night, she must hold a lantern above him and then cut off his head. The jealousy. In the dark, all was quiet except for the sound of Cupid's soft breathing. As he slept, Psyche trembled as she slipped from their bed and fetched the oil lamp and knife she had hidden earlier. When she returned to bed, Psyche lit her lamp, then slowly lifted the lamp above Cupid's head. She was stunned to see the flushed, shining face of Venus' son. Even her lamplight burned brighter with joy as it beheld the beautiful God. I got that feeling. I get that. In the middle of the night, you turn on the light and you see a beautiful face. More beautiful than any god, than anything. In the days, Psyche gently touched Cupid's golden curls and his wide shining wings and his quiver of arrows. When she touched one of his arrows, she picked herself and fell deeply in love with the god of love. Psyche felt such rapture, she nearly swooned to the floor as she caught herself. A drop of oil fell from her lamp onto Cupid's shoulder. A drop of oil. Cupid woke up. When he saw Psyche staring wide-eyed at him, holding a knife in her hand, a look of sadness crossed his face. My love, were you afraid that I was a hideous monster? Before Psyche could answer, he said, there can be no love if there is no trust. There can be no love if there is no trust. There can be no love if there is no trust. I will never come to you again. And with those sad words, he started to fly away. Trust. Trust. Crying out in grief, Psyche grabbed onto Cupid and clung to him as he soared high into the sky, but soon, overcome with weariness, she fell to the ground. Then she lay alone in the cold, dark night, wishing she could die. Thereafter, Psyche wandered the earth, searching for her lost husband. She did not know that Cupid was as sad as she, and that he lay in bed at his mother's palace, wounded by his love for her. Psyche desperately sought help from all the gods and goddesses, but none wished to incur the wrath of Venus. Only Ceres, the goddess of grain, would give her counsel. Cereal, the god of grain, the goddess of grain. Cereal comes from Ceres. Seek Venus and beg her forgiveness, Ceres. Ceres advised, for her son now lies in her palace, mourning for you, and Venus tires of caring for him. Beg her to unite the two of you again. But Venus let out a wild shriek when she saw Psyche humbly standing on her doorstep. The great goddess ordered her handmaiden, Trouble and Sorrow, to fall upon the girl and tear her clothes and pull her hair. When the dreadful attack was over, Venus smiled at Psyche, who lay trembling on the ground. Now you want to see my son? Don't you know he loathes you and wish you to never lay eyes upon you again? Really, you are such a plain and unfortunate creature. I almost take pity on you. Perhaps I should train you to become more fitting for a god. Wow, the in-law is pretty. Now you kind of understand the historical problem with the in-laws. Okay, let's continue. Venus then gave Psyche a task to perform. She led the girl to a storehouse filled with grains of many kinds. Sort all these by evening, she said, and with that she disappeared. As Psyche started hopelessly at the pile of barley, lentil, and poppy seed, an amazing thing began to happen. An army of ants assembled, and within minutes, waves of ants crawled up the piles of grain. Each ant carried one tiny seed at a time until all the seeds were sorted into 3 different piles. This reminds me of one of the, I think it's a master class or a Coursera class or something. There was one very famous performing artist. I think her name is, she's Polish or something. Let me find Maria, artist. Yes, I got it. No, artist Maria. No, Maria, performing artist. Yes, Maria Abramovich. And in her, she had one bowl of rice, and counting the rice, a whole bowl of rice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, every 5 or every 10 or every 20. Anyway, she has her system, and she start to count 1 hour. At the very beginning, it's studying her thought process. At the beginning, a big task. She had the ambition, okay, I am going to do it, and has fresh energy. So she was about to attack the task. As she goes down, the repetitive tediousness start to come up. She start to doubt about the meaning of the activity. Why do I do this? Why do I waste my time? This is my question. It's our normal people's question, and could not keep on and just get on with it. And at the very end, after 1 day or 2 days, after a long time, I forgot, maybe a couple of days, she finally reached to the end, counted. So achieved that feeling of achievement, which is very interesting. A lot of us do not have the luxury to waste 2 days of our life to count rice, to do these meaningless things. But philosophers, artists, the difference from us and artists is that we have a life and we live our real life. We need to eat, we need to clean the house, we need to go to work. They do not. Their job is just pondering about life. How they do it, I do not know. Anyway, so that's very interesting. This reminds me of this. And the ants can help. So they are taking a shortcut. Psyche is taking a shortcut. Okay. When Venus returned at nightfall, she flew into a rage. Someone has helped you. She shrieked. In the morning, I demand you complete another task. Then Venus threw Psyche a piece of hard black bread and left her to sleep. Hard black bread and left her to sleep on the cold, threshing floor. The next morning, Venus pushed Psyche out into the rosy dawn. Go to the pasture beside the flowing stream. The goddess said, there lived the fiery rams, fierce rams with golden wool. Gather some of their fleece, and then you might be a person worthy of my son's love. Gosh, with such a mother-in-law, I am just not doing any of this. Love can make me crazy, but I think a way mother-in-law can cool everything. Anyway, Psyche stood by the flowing stream that bordered the pasture where the wild rams grazed. As she watched the beasts fight with one another, she knew she could never get near their wool without being killed. She felt such despair. She wanted to drown herself in the stream. But then a green swaying reed began to whisper melodically, do not slay yourself, Psyche, nor approach those terrible sheep. In the noonday heat, when the sheep are napping, slip into the pasture and pick the golden wool that cling to the sharp briar and thorny bushes. At noontime, when the drowsy ram lay down for a nap, Psyche crossed the stream and crept into the pasture, and within a short time she had gathered all the golden wool that clung to the twigs and briars. When Venus saw Psyche's wood, she smiled bitterly. Someone must be helping you, she said, and she gave her yet another task. This time she wanted Psyche to fill a crystal goblet with icy mountain water from the mouth of a Stygian Stygian River. Stygian River. Psyche took the goblet from Venus and began climbing the craggy rocks of the mountain. But when she got near to the top, she realized this was the worst task yet, for the rocks near the mouth of the river were hopelessly steep and slippery. Just as she decided to fling herself off the mountain, an eagle flew over. Or if she took the master class from Alex Honnold, she will be able to climb that clip. And I just saw the movie Free Solo by Jimmy Chin and Elizabeth something. Jimmy Chin was a mountain climber. She has a master class and was so cool guy. And Jimmy Chin, he is a master climber, and he had a master class in master class. He had a class in master class about a mountain climb, about photography. I think he got some award for this free solo documentary, National Geographic, and he made a movie of Alex Honnold, free hand, with no rope, with no nothing, bare hand foot, climb El Capitan, the steepest, the most difficult wall in the world. Yeah. Anyway, wait, the eagle cried. Give me the crystal goblet, and I will fly to the mouth of the Black River and get water for you. Psyche gave her goblet to the eagle, and he held the vessel tightly with his fierce jaw as he flew to the mountain peak. After he filled the vessel and returned to Psyche, she carried the dark water back to Venus. As Psyche handed the goblet to Venus, the goddess accused her of being a sorcière. Then she gave Psyche the cruelest task of all. She ordered her to carry a box to the underworld, and ask Queen Persephone for a small portion of her beauty. Oh my. Psyche knew this was the end, for never would she gain the courage to descend to the underworld, the terrifying land of the dead. With great despair, she climbed to the top of a high tower and prepared to curl herself to her death. But just as she was about to jump, the tower spoke. What cowardice makes you give up now, Psyche? Be kind to yourself, and I will tell you how to reach the underworld and how to succeed in your quest. After she promised not to kill herself, the tower told Psyche how to travel to the land of the dead. Take 2 coins and 2 pieces of barley cake, the tower said. A lame donkey driver will ask you for help, but you must refuse him. Then give 1 coin to Shahong, the ferryman, and he will take you across the river Styx to the underworld. As you cross the water, the groping hand of a dying man will reach out to you, but you must turn away. You must also refuse to help 3 women weaving the thread of fate. When you came to Cerberus, the 3-headed watchdog, chimera maybe, watchdog or maybe another one, the watchdog that guards the palace door. Give him a barley cake and he will be friendly to you. Do all of these again on your way out. But most importantly, when you carry the box of beauty from Proserpina back to Venus, do not open it. Do not open it. Do not open it. Whatever you do, do not open the beauty box. Do not. Psyche did as the tower told her until finally she had secured the box of beauty from Proserpina, queen of the dead. When she repeated her actions as she left the underworld, she gave Cerberus a cake on her way out of the palace. She gave Sharon a coin to take her across the river Styx, and she refused to stop for any who tried to ensnare her with cries for help. But when Psyche was close to Venus' palace, a burning curiosity overtook her. She was dying to open the box and use a small portion of Proserpina's beauty. Psyche gingerly lifted the lid of the box, but she did not find beauty inside. Trust. Instead, she found a deadly sleep. And as the sleep overtook her, she crumbled to the road. Meanwhile, Cupid had escaped out the window of his palace room, and as he flying over the earth, searching for Psyche, he saw her lying unconscious beside the road. Cupid hastened down to her and quickly gathered to sleep from her body and closed it back inside the box. Then he woke Psyche with a kiss. Before Venus could catch them, Cupid lifted Psyche from the ground and carried her high into the heavens to Mount Olympus, to the home of Jupiter, god of the skies, and he bid Jupiter to officially marry them. After Jupiter married Cupid and Psyche, all of Mount Olympus celebrated the couple, except for Venus. Of course, she raged about her about for weeks, but within the years, the aging goddess, became the grandmother of a beautiful baby girl named Bliss. This ending is a little bit outside of my suspicion. In any case, this is a very interesting book. This is a long reading. The lamp, a little bit like Aladdin's lamp. Cupid. Psyche. Bye bye, friends. I love you. I really do. Do. Okay, hello, dear friends. So here is an ad for my podcast. So I have a podcast with stories, with blah blah blah. If you are interested, go to my podcast to listen to these stories, and they are under the description of this video. Thank you.